let's talk about the programming project. So for the programming project, you are going to model the deflection of a tuning fork. This is what a tuning fork looks like in this picture here. There's various kinds, some with a square cross-section that you can see here, some with a circular cross-section, where it's like a long cylinder. Essentially, we are taking the arm of this tuning fork, and we are checking to see how it deforms. So when you essentially hit it, when you hit a tuning fork, that arm is going to deflect. It's going to go up and down, and when that does that, it's going to produce a pitch, representing a note. There's different sets of tuning forks that represent different notes at various octaves. I don't know a lot about music. You may know more, but essentially it's related to music. So we have this arm of our fork. We are going to break it up into discrete points. So this is our 0, and this is L, the length of our fork. So X equals 0, and X equals L. And we've got a bunch of points in between. So point here, 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 etc. For this project, we are doing 201 points. And each point represents at a different point in the fork. And we are checking to see how each point moves up and down. How is this point moving up and down? How is this point moving up and down? How is this point moving up and down? And they're related to each other because they're next to each other. They're in the same material. They're not randomly going up and down. But we're trying to see how is each point moving, and if we put them all collectively together, we can see how the entire fork is moving. So that's in one single moment. So at one single moment, our fork might be like this, in another moment, it might be like this, or another moment, it might be like this. So lots of different moments. So that's X in terms of how we're identifying how our fork is moving. We are also checking to see how it's moving over time. So maybe this is at time point 1, maybe this one is at time point 2, time point 3, where each of those time points are like milliseconds apart. So we're going to look at 501 time points. So as the fork is moving up and down, we're going to check to see where it is at 501 different times. So t equals 1 all the way to t equals n. So here's our x vector, here's our t vector. These x's define literally where are our points. This is our change. This is how much space is between our point. Same thing for time. These tn's define which time point we're at, or what time we're at, and the delta t defines how much time there is between time points. The last thing to introduce is we are going to assume that the initial deflection, so when you initially hit the fork, it's going to be defined by this equation, where at the first time point, at t1, time equals 0. It's 1 times 10 to the negative 6 times xm over L to the 8th. Remember, xm is that vector. It's a vector of all these points at 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, all the way down to L. I used 0.1 as an example. But this equation here defines, if we calculate this for every x value, it's going to define what is our initial deflection, which you'll see it's something like this, which makes sense. When you initially bend something or hit it, it's going to bend like that. Okay, that's a basic introduction to the program. I'm going to go into each individual parts and into your final submission throughout these series of videos.